world of automation, there are three actors now, especially with agentic automation, which have to work in unison to complete and with efficiency a process end to end.
Hi everyone, I'm Taqi Jaffri, I lead product for UiPath Enterprise Agents, and today we have Arun Mehta joining me. He's our SVP of product, also at UiPath. Welcome, Arun.
Thanks for having me, Taqi.
Okay, Arun, so please walk us through how people should think about UiPath in the age of agentic automation.
Sure. Let me start with giving a bit of a historical context, right? UiPath was founded about 2 decades ago with this vision of eliminating the drudgery of business processes, the grunt work that workers have to sort of do day in day out by leveraging the power automation. And over the years, we essentially not only established the category of robotic process automation, but we became the category leaders of it, and we still are the category leaders of RPA to this date. Recently, with the advent of agentic AI, it is exciting for us because it gives us new tools that we can leverage to automate parts of the processes which up until now were near impossible or difficult to sort of automate, right? The way we think about this is, at the end of the day, business processes essentially are comprised of, broadly two types of work. One is what we call deterministic work, where think about it like you're copying data from one source and then pasting it, let's say, in a system of record. It's 100% sort of deterministic. You can automate it very, very easily without using sophisticated AI models and stuff, which is what we've been really good at up until now. And then the other part of the processes which have been near impossible to automate is what we call non-deterministic work. Think about you are a claims agent in an insurance company, and you are reviewing a claim that one of your customers has filed. Typically that requires a lot of knowledge work where you have to pattern match that particular case with some historical sort of cases which might be similar in nature to it, and so on and so forth. Needs a lot of sort of synthesizing of information from different sources and stuff, which up until now essentially was given to specialized sort of subject matter experts who would potentially spend hours and hours sort of executing that non-deterministic part of the process. Now with agentic AI, we are able to sort of use and build a specialized AI agents to automate that part of the workflow. And that's essentially what we are now building the future of agentic automation by leveraging our sort of RPA history and knowledge and deep domain expertise there, and augmenting it with our agentic sort of automation platform for customers.
You also led for us this product that we call UiPath Maestro, which is in the space of agentic orchestration.
That's right.
So how should we think about agentic orchestration? What is that?
Yeah, no, that's an important sort of area of focus for us, right? The way I think about this is, organizational output is a sum total of the efficiency with which business processes within the organizations run, right? Mm-hmm. That's the holy grail of it, regardless of how large or small your organization is. And take any sort of process in sort of any department, like be it HR or procurement or sales or marketing and stuff, right? The output that these departments produce essentially is the output of the processes that they run day in, day out. Mm-hmm. And typically, these processes require a lot of coordination across different groups of people, sometimes internal stakeholders, external stakeholders and stuff. It requires a lot of work that you have to sort of do, again, going back to my deterministic versus non-deterministic sort of classification of business processes before. The way to think about, orchestration is, we are orchestrating what I call long-running, complex, end-to-end enterprise processes. Typically in the, world of automation, there are three actors now, especially with agentic automation, which have to work in unison to complete and with efficiency a process end to end. You have the robots, which essentially are tasked with executing the deterministic parts of the workflows. And you have the AI agents, which are now tasked with executing the non-deterministic parts of the workflows. And then you have the humans, the subject matter experts, who have to essentially, come into play, invariably when certain processes which are, or instances which are complex and need human supervision for, handling business exceptions, for example. So for any organization to be able to execute efficiently their processes across these three actors, you need a orchestration layer, which is what we've built with UiPath Maestro.
It's a cool name. When businesses design these processes, I can imagine today these are just standard operating procedures, like pasted on a wall somewhere. Like, how do you design them in Maestro?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So with Maestro, what we've endeavored to do is, we've built a unified platform which gives customers the ability to do business process management, RPA integrated in it, Agentic AI integrated in it, and process intelligence layer integrated in it, which essentially gives customers the continuous sort of feedback loop that they need to constantly monitor, optimize, and improve their orchestrated processes over time. And specifically, using Maestro, customers are able to model their business processes using industry standard sort of process modeling languages such as BPMN in our sort of designer canvas in the Studio Web product. And they're also sort of able to operate the deployed processes using our Maestro capabilities. And integrated process intelligence provides them the answer to the questions around where in their deployed processes do they have opportunities to introduce AI agents, and where in their deployed processes where they already have AI agents do they have the opportunity to make those agents even more efficient over time.
Got it. So it's both a design time concept as well as it's helping you at runtime as
That's
well.
right.
And you mentioned long running. I can imagine, especially if humans are involved, when a task is given to a human in the context of the business process, it could take days or it could take
weeks, months, years
right.
too. Yeah.
So how does Maestro deal with that sort of uncertainty around how long some tasks will take to complete?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think when we started, building Maestro, we took a first principle sort of approach to, product building. And one of the things that we realized early on essentially is for us to truly build an orchestration layer for orchestrating long-running enterprise processes, sometimes which can potentially take, months and even years, for example, a complex sort of insurance claim. We realize that it's important for us to sort of invest in a new sort of workflow execution engine, which has the ability to manage states, has the ability to take snapshots of instances, especially when the instances of a particular process has to be paused or has failed for whatever reason, and so on and so forth. And also equally importantly, we wanted to build an execution engine which gives customers the ability to rewind, replay, restart processes from the point of failure rather than sort of having to start it from the first step, right? Imagine a hire to retire process, right? Where we've hired Taqi, and Taqi is in his month 2 of employment at UiPath, right? And then that process fails. And now we ask Taqi to sort of basically go start his sort of onboarding from week 1, right? Taqi will be pissed. So that's exactly what we did. We essentially, invested the time and energy in building an event-driven, stateful process execution engine, which gives customers the ability to run these long-running orchestrated processes at scale.
By the way, thank you for saying hire to retire, not hire to fire.
Yeah.
Now let's talk a little bit about advice to customers, because we just had our Fusion conference about a month ago, where the entire goal was agentic AI meets ROI. So this concept of return on investment on all these agentic pilots that are happening, what's your best advice to customers for actually getting value out of these agents?
Yeah, so we have the tools in the UiPath sort of agentic platform, agentic automation platform, to help customers find answers to these 3 questions, right? The first one, design. We always advise our customers to essentially think about the right patterns and practices that they can use when it comes to designing their agentic workflows. So specifically, we tell them about 2 things. First is, rather than designing a giant monolithic sort of overloaded agent, we advise them to split their sort of workflows into simple agents which are each specialized in doing one job and one job well, and then use UiPath Maestro or a similar sort of orchestration layer to chain them together, right, into a workflow where the workflow essentially is like the outer loop, if you will, for executing those agents towards a logical sort of task completion. The second thing, when it comes to sort of testing, right, both design time and runtime testing, we advise customers to essentially use things like evals to test their agents before they essentially deploy them to production. You can talk about things like the health score and simulations, perhaps.
Yeah, so we have built into the product the ability to simulate agentic workflows, because you can imagine one of these business processes is actually adding something to a system of record.
Yeah.
You don't want to actually do that during testing or deleting something, etc. So you can effectively run the entire process under simulation for better testing. We have a state-of-the-art eval system using LLMs as a judge, etc. We have the ability to take runtime trace logs and add them to the eval sets. So yeah, it's a pretty rich product suite.
Yeah.
I think the really interesting point that you were making earlier also was around continuous learning. We also have product lines for that, which we'll be talking into ability for agents to have memory and fine-tune themselves in production and so forth. As you think of the year ahead, what are some exciting things coming from UiPath?
Yeah, I'm excited about three things, right? That all of us are working together across the company. The first thing I'm excited about essentially is the focus that we have on building the best platform for developers for building, deploying, operating, and continuously sort of optimizing their agentic sort of workflows and agentic automations. Sometime early sort of summer next year, we would essentially be launching a new product called Maestro Flow. Think of it as a developer-friendly design experience for developers to build their end-to-end sort of process orchestrations without them requiring to sort of learn and ramp up on, let's say, a traditional sort of process modeling language like BPMN.
Got it.
And that's the first thing that I'm excited about. The second thing that I'm excited about is that we are expanding the UiPath sort of platform so that it's easy to use by business users, right? So traditionally, if you look at organizations which typically operate in, let's say, any industry where there is a lot of structured, top-down, left-to-right sort of processes which are more case-like, take insurance claims management, new sort of customer onboarding in, let's say, a banking scenario, KYC, etc. So we are actually going to be, in the upcoming quarter, launching in preview our Maestro, case management product, which will have a new sort of set of design experiences, specifically targeted at case designers and case architects, so that they can sort of model their sort of cases end to end and use that as an avenue to sort of orchestrate their processes. And then the third thing that I'm excited about is our foray into what we call vertical solutions. Working with a lot of customers and partners over the last year, we've built a lot of learnings, which we are not sort of codifying into, turnkey, ready-made sort of solutions for vertical scenarios across, healthcare, life sciences, banking, financial services, manufacturing, to really sort of significantly accelerate the time to value that customers can get from their sort of agentic investments.
Wonderful. Sounds like an exciting year ahead.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us, Arun.
Yeah, thanks, Taqi.